Hey, I'm Jim at Videoguys.com. Gary cannot join us for the webinar this week, so I'm going to step in and try to do my best to talk to you about some of the challenges we had and the solutions we made to improve the audio for our video live productions and our weekly webinars like this one today. So hopefully this one sounds great and we sound like we know what we're talking about. We are the video guys. We are not audio experts, but we actually use the product that we sell, and we run into those same challenges along the way that you'll run into when you set up your live streaming and live production setup. Give us a call. Feel free to work with us, ask us any questions, and we'd be happy to help you out and help address some of those concerns. We also have tech support resources to help get you in touch with the right people when it gets to the point that we can't help you out because maybe we haven't run into that issue or you have specific concerns that are special to your setup. So let me start by telling you that audio is one of the most important things that separates an amateur live video production from a professional one. Audio and lighting are really some of those two key points. Any cell phone now can be held up and streamed directly to YouTube Live and Facebook Live. But the microphones that are built into those cell phones, or even the mics that are built into higher-end cameras, are not really good microphones. They're often very weak and very small. I can't remember the last time a new cell phone was announced and they said, hey, we've just upgraded to an iPhone 25 because it has a great new microphone built into it. It's always about the cameras, it's always about the speakers, it's always about the resolution of the screen. So the microphone does make a big difference, and we're going to address that and help you find the right solution to get the audio into your live productions today. One of the first problems we had in building this studio that I'm in today was the background noise. The studio is actually located in our warehouse. So our solution was to use some of the tools available to soundproof the room. There are materials like Quiet Rock sheetrock and rock salt insulation that you can use if you're building out a studio of your own. Definitely work with an AV contractor or someone in your local area to help learn more about some of these solutions and to see what's available. The second issue is going to be the acoustics. Once we built the room out and we were stuck with 4 empty walls around us, the sound bounced and reverberated off of everywhere. Fortunately, there are lots of great materials available. If we cut the camera too, you'll see that we have some soundproofing curtains here, and we have some foam that we actually picked up right off of Amazon that allows us to deaden the sound against some of the hard structures in the room. There's nothing you can do if you have a room that has concrete walls or steel structures in the middle of, but there are lots of inexpensive materials that you can use to kind of dress those areas and make them be less of an obstacle with audio. What you want to avoid in a good audio setup is giving solid surfaces where the sound can bounce off of it. It's important to find the right microphone for your production, and I'm going to bring in our tech guy, Eddie, who's going to talk a little bit more about this because he's working with this stuff week in and week out.
I am.
Eddie, thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Eddie is usually behind the scenes working our TriCaster, but he's been working a lot on getting the studio set up and handling some of the different audio concerns. Yep. So Eddie, what are some of the different choices we have in choosing a microphone, and what would lead us down that path of choosing one or another?
First thing is your show type. Like our webinars, usually just Jim or Gary, and it's not interview based, it's not really a talk show, it's just a live webinar. So we have a couple of choices. Obviously we're both wearing lapel microphones, but there's also handheld mics, condenser mics, and boom mics that could be used as well.
And we're going to go into all of those in details, but I do want to point out the red note that you made me put into my presentation.
Yeah, always test. If you're going to go live, especially like we are, you need to make sure that your audio is clear and not corrupted in any way. So test, test, test. That goes for video, audio, anything in video production.
And really, that's an important consideration. When you're going live, you don't have the luxury of cutting and doing a take two. Everything has to be ready and working. By testing beforehand, even if it means putting a test stream up to YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope, You test every aspect and then don't touch a thing until you're ready to go live. So now let's talk about some of the different microphones. You pointed out that I have a lapel mic on, as do you. Why are we wearing lapel mics today?
Because we're not doing like an interview where you would necessarily go into the crowd and find me with a handheld mic. We're both facing the camera and we're not facing each other, so there's no crossover audio. If we were facing each other, your mic's gonna pick me up, my mic's gonna pick you up. It's not gonna be a clear audio solution. So that's why for these webinars, especially when it's just Jim or Gary, it's perfect to have, these lapel microphones.
When Eddie gave me the option of using a lapel mic or staring deeply into his eyes, you know exactly which one I chose.
My eyes.
No, definitely not. But another option very well could be a handheld mic. A handheld mic would be great if I was talking into the microphone and now I stop talking, I'm done, and I hand it over to Eddie. Now you can finish
you
up.
want me to say something?
Yeah, okay. That helps. Yeah. This mic's not connected right now, but if it was, or if we were out into the field, we would use a handheld mic in a lot of those applications. Then, of course, there's a boom or a shotgun mic. So I know you would actually prefer to use a boom mic in some circumstances.
Right.
Why or why not?
Well, if you have a boom mic operator and you happen to be in a large space where you're running around, you want someone to track you better, and sometimes the lapel mic, even if it's wireless, isn't the best way to go. You doing your own show, you might not have the luxury of having an extra set of hands to do so, but if you can get a boom mic and an operator, it's really the best way to get it, just because they're super directional. So if you have a good boom op who can follow you and follow the trajectory of your voice, then you're gonna get great audio.
So right now in our studio here, we're in front of a virtual set. If I was a weatherman moving back and forth across the set, or to camera 2, here, it might be beneficial to have a boom operator move with me. But in the case of what we're doing today, we don't necessarily need to do that. So the lapel mic works perfectly. You can go with a wireless lapel mic in a lot of these same circumstances, but again, having wireless microphones can sometimes lead to its own set of issues that you need to be concerned with as well. One of the problems we had in using some of these microphones as well was interference. It actually took us a couple of weeks to diagnose what was going on, but we would set up a mic and hear noise coming into the table.
Yeah, we were picking up some local radio station or even a faraway radio station. We couldn't tell, but we couldn't hear it clearly. And it's because of these XLR cables. Some of them don't have really heavy-duty shielding that can keep that kind of interference out. But we couldn't tell what it was until finally it came in clear enough and we heard the radio station ID and even a news story that definitely wasn't anything that we've ever heard before. But we changed out the XLR, found a better one, and we were good to go.
Yeah, so one of the things we did was replace this cable with an XLR cable that had a little more heavy-duty shielding, but also we chose a shorter cable which got us from point to point on exactly what we needed. If you can eliminate as much cable as possible or as much metal along the line, you can also eliminate some of that interference. Again, this is something we learned the hard way.
Yeah.
But you're going to run into these issues. And especially if you're going to set up a production out in the field or at a location, this is why you always pack 3 of everything with you, because you never know when you're going to run into these issues. And then a condenser mic.
The condenser mic is good. We use it for our voiceovers when I do the product spotlights. And they're really great if you're just doing audio. Some podcasts use them where you see it's a big like radio mic and they could swing it back and forth. But really, we don't need anything like that. Again, it all depends on the format of your show. But you change the slide. It's what we use in our vocal booth. It's a simple editor's key USB condenser that just plugs right into any laptop and it gets you great audio. And we use GarageBand even to just EQ the audio as much as we can. And that gives...
and I'm going to say, if you check out the Videoguys YouTube channel, you'll see some of the product spotlights that we've been putting up there. Eddie is doing a voiceover for those product spotlights using this USB condenser mic right into the Mac Pro with GarageBand, you said?
Yep.
And we get accused all the time of being a Windows house. We're not a Windows house, even though a lot of the live production systems and options are on Windows.
Right.
Wirecast is a perfect example of a software program that runs just as well on Mac or PC. We're really not fanboys of either system. We had a Mac laptop available to use. GarageBand was installed on it. Hook up the microphone, it works. If it was a PC laptop in the room, we could have used Adobe Audition just the same.
Exactly.
You know, you use the tools in a professional environment that you have available to you that you know is going to get the job done.
Right, and like he said, it was free. It was right there. We went through other different ways to record the audio, but so far, for the time being, we're pretty happy with GarageBand.
And then the other concern is once you decide which mic you're using and how many of them you need, the option is going to be finding the right mixer, the audio mixer to interface with your live production system. The audio mixer can be crucial in and of itself because they're available everywhere from 2 channels to as many channels as you need. If you're in a live church or doing a panel type discussion in a school environment, you're going to need a larger audio mixer. It gets to a point where you need a mixing operator for the audio stuff too.
Especially the more people you have on, the more mics that are being used in general. You might want to lower someone so that not every mic is picking up everyone's audio. So you might need an extra set of hands when it comes to something like that as well.
And again, as the production scales, so might your staff that you have to bring with you. And this brings up another problem that we ran into. The audio mixer interfacing with the TriCaster TC1. When the TriCaster TC1 first came out, we immediately grabbed one and replaced our in-house production system with the TC1, only to learn that the TC1 has a balanced analog line level input. Unlike previous TriCasters, there is no mic level input or phantom power. We brought this immediately to New Tech and found out that the solution could possibly be a USB mixer. There are actually 3 different ways to go. We could have used an audio mixer and connected directly to the TriCaster by the analog audio input. We could use an audio input on the cameras that support phantom power and mic level, or we could use a professional USB audio interface. Eddie, what was your choice? 1, 2, or 3?
3.
All right. Why?
Because it seems like the trend is going where everything's connected with USB, and honestly, we tried everything, and that's the one that worked.
It worked the best, definitely.
It worked the best. We got the
easiest
cleanest audio, and with this Motu 4 pre-mixer, I mean, it just made everything so simple. You give it power, you plug it into the TriCaster via USB, connect your mics, and you're good to go.
Yeah, and the other thing that we learned too is, not that we learned, but that I should remind you, is that TriCaster systems are really nothing more than turnkey computer systems built from the ground up for live production. So with the USB port, you can take an audio device like the Motu 4 Pre and hook it up to the TC1 and address that need exactly as it's designed.
Exactly.
You're not hacking the system or doing anything that it wasn't meant to be. This is how the system was made to work and was made to interface. So if I start from my mic and from your mic, can you walk me through kind of the audio workflow of how we have everything set up here?
Sure. Right on the slide here, you're obviously going to want to attach the mic to the talent, and then you're going to take the plug-in and put it right into the back of the 4 Pre, which we have a little diagram here. The inputs on this mixer can take either a 1/4-inch cable or XLR, which is really handy, especially doing live video.
And it was important for us because it gives us the flexibility and versatility to, once again, use whatever it is that we have available and whatever's working at that time.
Exactly.
If the XLR cable is picking up the interference from the radio station and all we have is a 1/4-inch cable to plug in, it allows us that flexibility.
Exactly. And then from there, you're just going to hook the mixer via USB right into the back of the TriCaster, and then you should be getting levels right into the software immediately.
And it's perfect, and it's nice and easy. So the only other thing to consider with these microphones and when you're doing your productions is going to be how many people you're miking at a time. When you're miking two people, there are definitely some considerations to keep in mind at the time.
Right.
I know the one you brought up before was me staring into your eyes and speaking directly at each other.
Won't
You know,
stop.
again, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But what are some of the other considerations here, Eddie?
Well, like I said, like we've been saying, crossover, but also just facing the camera is something that is big, and that'll cancel out a lot of other problems. We also have...
And I'll point out, too, from a video point of view, by having a confidence monitor at the camera, it does give your talent something to look at so they're not constantly wandering with their eyes and looking off screen and doing other things. So now by having the confidence monitor at the camera, it also helps your talent focus their audio towards the camera and prevent that crossover that we talked about as
Exactly.
well. Okay? Again, I'm going to say it again. I know I started with it. Eddie and myself, we are the video guys. Videoguys.com. We are not the audio guys. We don't pretend to be audio experts. You could probably walk into a local guitar center and find someone more experienced with the audio production side of things than we are. But they may not be able to answer your questions with the video production. Because we're actually doing these webinars every Tuesday afternoon at 2 p.m., we're using the equipment that we're talking about today, and we could help answer a lot of those questions and hopefully help get your webinars up and going and on the right track.
Exactly.
And if you do have audio questions that are over our heads, we have a huge network of customers, vendor tech support technicians, and just relationships and people that we've met along the years to help get you the right answers. So when your video guy salesperson says, give me a day to work on that, let me see what I can do to help you find an answer, that's us just trying to offer that next level of customer service to get you the correct information that you need. We do hope that you join us every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. I don't think I'm going to have Eddie on camera with me every week. As a matter of fact, if I could get Gary back in here, I will, because I don't want to be on camera every week either. But I can tell you that Gary is super excited about next week's webinar, where we're going to be introducing the new Sling Studio multi-camera production system. Super affordable, super easy to set up, super easy to use, and can be expandable up to 10 cameras. The following week, we're going to be talking about PTZ Optics cameras and their new NDI firmware upgrade, which was just released today. The PTZ Optics NDI cameras will be released on March 16th, so hopefully we'll even have one here to show you during that webinar on the 20th. The following week, we're going to talk about the Wirecast Gear 230 and the advantages that the assignable SDI input-output options give to you and your production. And then finally, April 3rd, we're going to do our NAB preview webinar. Super excited about the NAB show this year, super excited about the technology and some of the products that we expect to see toward the end of the year.
And Vegas.
And Vegas.
And Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
Vegas.
Vegas, okay? If you have any questions about any of these stuff that we talked about today, give us a call. 800-323-2325. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Video Guys is available Monday through Friday. Give us a call at 1-800-323-2325. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter to stay connected with all of our updates. And you can like us on Facebook. Keep an eye out for our live videos. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.